Hello. Today we are doing notes 4.5. So these are our word problems and they deal with rational expressions. So basically we have two types of problems we're going to deal with: work problems and average cost problems. So for work problems, we're going to basically have just one category. Usually we have two, but we're going to simplify down to one. So that's the individual plus the individual equals the complete job. So we're going to end up making a rational equation and then solving it like we did in section 4.4. So the Pardinis are having an outdoor barbecue next weekend. Their sons Tony and Frank. So I'm going to use T and F respectively. If Tony works alone for the weekend, it takes him 8 hours to get the job cleaned up. For Frank, it takes him 10 hours. How many hours will it take them to work together? So for Tony, right, to do one complete job, it takes him 8 hours. For Frank to do one complete job, it takes him 10 hours. I want to know together, how long does it take them to do the same job? How many hours? And so don't we get confused, I'm just going to write together so we don't get confused with the two t's. So our fractions are going to come from right here. So 1 over 8, 1 over 10 equals 1 over, we'll call it t, or for hours, or you could do x, however you want to do it. So 1 over t. So that's where our fractions come from. How long does it take them to do one complete job? So same idea, right? We're going to do LCD, same idea as section 4. So in this case, the smallest number that 8 and 10 go into would be 40, and we need a t as well. So I'm going to multiply everything by 40t. So multiply, multiply, multiply. So 1/8 into 40t, 8 goes into 40, right, 5 times. So this would become 5t. Right, 1 over 10. 10 goes into 10 once and to 40 4 times. So this would become 4t. Here the t's reduce, and all you have left is 40. So 9t equals 40. Divide, you get 40 over 9. And if you convert that to a decimal, it's about 4.4 hours. So about 4.4 hours to do it together. So I create the rational equation. I solve it just like we did in section 4 by multiplying by the common denominator to clear the fractions. Whoops. Right? Okay, so example 2. Right? This time we're talking about the firefighting crews. So if two crews work together, they can pull it off in 50 minutes. The lesser experienced crew does it in 110. How long will it take the more experienced crew to do it? So the lesser experienced crew to do one complete job is 110 minutes. The more experienced group to do one complete job is t minutes, and for them to do it together to do one complete job, right, takes them 50 minutes. So there's my fraction, 1 over 110 plus 1 over t equals 1 over 50. So I need to find my LCD, right, which is actually 550t. So multiply everything by 550t. So the 110, right, so again multiplying this by each term. So 110 right, is going to go into 550 5 times. So this is going to be 5 left. So 5t. T goes into 550 would be 550 times. And then 50 goes into 550 11 times. So this goes into here 11 times. So this would be 11t. So subtract the 5t. So we get 6t. Divide by 6. So you get 550 divided by 6 equals t. Right, and then you could reduce that. Right, if you wanted to, if you divided it and got a decimal, you would get about 91.67 minutes for the more experienced crew to do it. Which makes sense because it should be less than 110, right? Because they're the more experienced crew, but it should be more than 50 minutes when they work together. So it should be in between 110 and 50, which it is. Okay, the other type of word problem we have are average cost problems. So these are going to start out with an average cost, but then something's going to happen. Either more items or people are going to be added, so then the cost decreases, or items or people are going to be removed, so the average cost will rise. So as we do these problems, basically we're going to be thinking about the original cost of the group plus or minus the adjustment is equal to the new average cost. So we have a small group of students that are doing a study session one night. They realize that it's going to be a long night, so they order a pizza. The order amount is $24. Before the pizza arrives, another student joins the study group. With the additional person, the average cost decreases by 2. How many students were originally in the study group? So what is the original average cost? Well, it would be $24 divided by how many people? We don't know how many people. They told us to say it was X students. Right? If the pizza is $24, how do you figure out how many people or how much it's going to cost? You divide by how many people there are. That tells you how much each person pays. But then you have that friend, right? Always comes late to everything. So now that person shows up. So then you're going to pay $2 less because the price is decreasing. So now the pizza is still $24, right? It's not changing just because someone else came. The pizza company is still charging you $24. But now you're dividing it by X plus 1 because you have one extra person. And I don't know how many people we started with. That's what I'm trying to solve for. So now you have your rational equation. So I need my LCD. So in this case, if I multiplied every fraction by X, that wouldn't clear the last fraction. So I need X times X plus 1. So everything is going to get multiplied by X times X plus 1. That goes to every single fraction. So the first fractions, right, the X is going to reduce. So it's 24 times X plus 1. Second fraction, nothing reduces. So it's negative 2 times X times the plus 1. And in the third fraction, the X plus 1's reduce. So you get 24X. Notice 24, 2, and 24, all divisible by 2. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute. So 12x plus 12 minus x squared minus 1x equals 12x. Notice I see a quadratic, so I'm going to move everything over to the right and try to factor it. Right? Once you move everything over to the right, right, I'll come back up over here. So you get 0 equals x squared. Right? The 12x is reduced. So plus 1x minus 12. And now I'm going to factor that. So x and x, so 4 and 3. So plus 4 minus 3. So x equals 3, x equals negative 4. Right? Set each one of those two factors equal to 0, you get 3 and negative 4. How can you have negative 4 people? You can't. So this negative 4 works for algebraically, but in terms of our problem, it doesn't make any sense. So you originally had 3 people. Then you had the 4th person show up. So the answer is 3. So again, making the problem, right? Looking at the word problem, creating your rational equation. Then you solve it just like we did section 4.4, multiplying by a common denominator to clear the fractions and then solve the linear problem or the quadratic problem, just like we did in section 4.4. All right, number 5, a little bit tougher, but similar type of problem. Again, average cost, then the adjustment is going to equal the new average cost. So you have an amusement park gives group discounts. Last month, a certain size group of students went and paid $6.51 for admission tickets. This month, they were told if 4 more people were in their group, they would pay $9.90, resulting in a $3 discount. How many people were in the group that visited the park last month? So first off, how do you figure out how much each person paid the first time? Well, it's $651 divided by X number of people. So they said if you come again and you add 4 people, right, that's going to result in a discount of $3. So how much each person's paying is going down by $3. So now the new sum is $990. But you're going to divide that by X plus 4 because you have 4 more people than what you started with. So this one's challenging because the new average cost changed. It didn't stay the same like it did with the pizza. So because you're buying more tickets, still going to pay less per ticket, but you're going to spend more money in total to begin with. So now find my LCD. Right, so that would be x times x plus 4. So multiply everything times x plus 4. And then I just got to clean this up. So x times x, those reduce. So you get 651 times x plus 4. Minus, nothing reduces in the second fraction. So 3x times x plus 4. And then the last fraction, the x plus 4 is reduced. So you get 990x. Now it doesn't look like it, but if you look carefully, you'll see that you can divide by 3. All 3 of these numbers. So this becomes 217. This is minus x times x plus 4. This equals 330x. I mean, help some get smaller numbers, right? Distribute. So 217x plus 868. Minus x squared minus 4x equals 330x. Again, I see the x squared. So I'm going to move everything to the right and try to factor again. Just like I did in the last problem. Right? You can combine like terms here first. So that's 213x plus 868 minus x squared equals 330. So move everything over. So we get x squared. Right? Subtract the 868, subtract the 213. So you get plus 117x minus 868. So now we're going to factor that. And again, I won't give you anything this nasty on the test, like these bigger numbers. But this becomes 124 and 7. So plus minus. So set each one of those equal to 0. Solve, you get negative 124 people. Or you get 7 people. You can't have negative 124 people. So the original group was 7 people. So more complicated because the average cost change and bigger numbers. Again, on the quiz or a test, you wouldn't have these bigger numbers. They would be more probably similar to number 4. Okay, the last two problems are solving equations, rational equations, right, for certain variables. So in this case, we're going to solve for v, and we're assuming v is a positive number. So you have g over 1 equals v squared over t. It's a proportion. So I can cross multiply. So v squared equals t times g, or gt. Right? Square root both sides. So you get plus or minus the square root of gt. If you look at example 7, we're going to solve for r. Oops. So we have a over 1 equals 5r plus 1 over m. Same idea, cross multiply. So 5r plus 1 equals am. So now I want to get r by itself. So I'm going to subtract 1. So am minus 1. Then I'm going to divide by 5. So r equals a m minus 1 over 5. And there you go. So all of these are working with rational equations in a different form that we kind of were used to in 4.4. But the idea is, again, it's a proportion. You cross multiply. It's not a proportion. Multiply by a common denominator. But the whole goal is to clear the fractions and then solve. For most of these, it's going to be a linear or quadratic equation. Make sure you answer your essential question with a 3 to 5 sentence summary. When you're done with that, you're done with your notes. Have a great day.